Hey everybody, welcome to another episode. So I'm outside right now, really nice and beautiful out here. I'm working on T-top, and I've been having this issue where every time you start it, cold start of course, whenever you try to start it, it'll run for a second and then just die off. You've typically seen behavior like this if, there's some type of security or theft system activating, or maybe like fuel pressure isn't up to par. It'll just initially run and then just die. And I've eliminated theft from it. It doesn't have theft enabled on it. As far as fuel goes, I'm getting really great fuel pressure. Yeah, if you recall, since I first saw this car, I've noticed that it was leaking this goo from the ignition control module. So it's time that I get that replaced. But there are no options for the 84 Grand National with an ignition control module. So your only option is to upgrade to the 87. Wait for that plane to pass. Yeah, so that's basically your only option, is to upgrade to the 87. And Casper has this harness that converts the wiring that you need from an 84 unit to the 87 unit, so you can plug it right into an 87 unit. It's kind of like that harness. And as you can see, it's $100. So I have better things to spend my money on. I'd rather spend my money on things that are going to make the car go faster. So I've gotten really good at depinning GM connectors. And basically what that is this. If I have this first wire right here, and I want to move it to the third position, I can depin it using some of these tools. One tool will correctly unlock the wiring clip and allow me to pull the wire out from this plastic piece. And I'm gonna do that for about, I think it's 8 wires that you have to do it on this for. So you just switch the position of those 8 wires and you save yourself $100. You get an entire set of depinning tools. I think you get close to 100 for like $8. So let me show you how to do it. You can save $100 and put that towards go fast parts. Let's do it. All right, so here are a list of things that you'll need. From Napa, you're going to need at least 10 of these. There are the terminal connectors. Here's a part number 725189. They're about $1.29 each. I bought them out, so I bought about 20 because you never know, I may have another turbo Regal. You know how I roll. So you get yourself at least 12 of them. Make sure you have some extras just in case you lose one or you break one, but that's what that looks like. You'll need a set of pick tools I got mine from Harbor Freight. Always good to have a set around. I have some side cutters. I have some lineman's pliers. I believe that's what these are. Anything that has that really flat head, you'll need it to fold over your terminal connections. A 14 millimeter to loosen up the bracket that goes to the coils, and some wire cutters. These are really good at removing the insulation from your wires. So, all right, now, first things first. I like to work from the ABC side. And if you look real closely, you'll see the letters A, B, and C here, depicting which pin corresponds with what letter. And if you look real close, you'll be able to see this is like a little gummy, and you want to pop this out and get it out of the way so you can get right at the terminals. So I'll just start from the outside and come in and just do that and just work it all the way across. You're freeing up dirt and grime, so keep that in mind. You got to be a little bit careful, a little bit patient, but you'll start to see edges and all of that stuff soon. And before you even get started, it'll probably be a good idea to disconnect the battery. You don't want to short circuit anything in here. you want to take one of your flattest tools. I'd say this one will do. Maybe something a little bit more sturdy, but just as thin. I've had a lot of success with this rounded tip one. It's very tiny, so I'd say start with this. If that doesn't work, then rotate to something smaller. Maybe like one of these two. And this will give you what you need to get down and in there. Don't pull it back toward you. Push it through. Now that these three are out, we can clip off the tops of them. Try to cut it as close as you can to the terminal. And note, these two wires are the same color. Be careful, don't mix them up. All right, so now you can pull them through. And now what you can do is use this green weather seal as a way to route them to its new home. So for instance, this first wire here is supposed to go into third position. This third wire is supposed to go into second position. And the second position is supposed to go into first. So let's do this. Let's get the gray out of the way. Let's move this first pink one into the right spot. All right, now we can remove the two and put it in one. And now we can remove this one and put it here. All right. Okay, confirming our findings. Pink, gray, pink. Now, I'm gonna rinse and repeat with some of these other ones, because now that these are in the right position, I can move over to these two. Blue and black, they're supposed to switch. So that'll be nice and easy. And if you need to see me do it again, here's what I'm doing. There's a head of this, this connector. I'm just prying that down a little bit. All right, just getting it down a little bit. And now I'm coming back from behind, coming back up on that head, but from behind this time, and I can actually push it through. And now I can cut it. Really close. It takes a while to get used to, but you can get used to it. It's easy. It's a little nerve-wracking, a little intimidating at first, but as long as you don't damage the black plastic, take all the liberties you want. Okay, pry that down, come in from behind, push it through. Come on, don't call me a liar. Come on, push it through. All right, didn't quite get there yet. It's almost there though. Okay. Oh man, look at that. That's why you have 100 of them. Move on to another one if that doesn't work. It's so close. It really is. The head of it is right there. There it is. So it's basically just rinse and repeat. I'm going to just knock this out, and then the next scene you'll see, I'll be pinning the new wires in its new location. All right, so I got one more wire to go, and I'm going to bring you all up in close so you can see my method. Now, I'm doing all of this with just the regular pliers. It's just important that the tip is flat. So I'll take my wire. I'll make sure I have all the strands, twist them up. I'll put my connector over it. And these bottom tangs, they have to touch insulation. That's my rule. So I pull up enough insulation to be able to get that on there. And then I'm gonna squeeze it just a little bit just to create some type of friction fit. And then I'll just bend in one side. Usually the side that's closest to me, I'll just bend that in. I'll straighten out the other side, and I'll bend that side in. All right, I'll inspect it, make sure everything looks good. I'll adjust it if it doesn't. You need to make sure the terminal is narrow enough to squeeze back into the hole. And then the bulb has to face the right way. So I'll line all that up, make my final adjustments. And then just push it in. Now the lock, you're gonna have to push down on the lock to make sure it doesn't snap. And then you can just wiggle things down and in there. And then take my pick tool, make sure everything looks good. And that's it. I'll move this, the weather stripping forward and lock it in place, but that's it. It was really hard to see how I was making that wire connection, so I want to show you everything a little bit more up close. So here, I have my wire poking through the plastic black connector. Here is my MetroPack connector from Napa. As you can see, it has the head, it has that retaining clip on this side, and now you have these legs that clamp around the conductive material, and this piece will clamp around the insulation. So you have your appropriately skinned wire here. You get that wire perfectly in there, and that's what you're looking for right there. Like I said, the bottom piece should clamp around the insulation, and the upper piece should clamp around the actual conductive wire. you'll take something like this and then you'll just clamp on both sides. First, what I like to do, I like to come at it straight on. So I kind of snug it up. And then I'll just go side by side and clamp things down. Now, are there tools that are better suited for this? Absolutely. And I'll put some of those suggestions in the chat or in the video description. But I just want to show you all what I did and how well it worked for me. So there we go. We got one side folded over like so. We'll take our other side and do the same thing. We'll test it, make sure you pull on it, nothing's happening. But we also need to clean up the bottom of here because it has to slip back through that connector. And at the end, here's what you're left with. You know, you're left with something that's clamping around the conductive material and the insulation. When you're looking at the back of it, everything is straight and able to slide back into that plastic connector. And if you need to tweak it just a little bit, it's pretty robust, so you can do so. And there you go. Now you can just you can pull the wire back in, or you can push it like so back into the connector. And once you hear this part snap back in, you're golden. You give it a final tug, make sure it's not moving anywhere, and you're good to go. That's it. I'll do my final checks to make sure everything went into the right hole. Bad time to find out you did it wrong, but still. Then we'll slide everything up. Now, make sure you're pulling back on the wire as you move this forward. You don't want to make any damage. Mind my glove here, my struggle glove. Push it the rest of the way in. Rinse and repeat with this side. Whew. And that concludes it. We're officially all good. This is the T-Type website. And if you've noticed, hybrid, it'll show you the 8485 harness connector with the module and the pinouts here. So I just do a final check on that, make sure everything lines up, and it does. And now I can swap out the ignition module with the new one, coil with the new one, and hopefully fire it up. Okay, so next up, removing this, I have to remove the entire bracket assembly. There's a 14 millimeter if you follow this rod down to the exhaust manifold. Gotta loosen that. And then there's a bolt right underneath this fuel pressure regulator line that you just have to put a couple turns on. You don't have to loosen it all the way. because the bracket slips out from underneath it. Oh no, I actually think it has to come off all the way. On my other 84, it looks like they cut it. Once that's up and out of the way, you can pop this up and out. Here we go. All right, so here it is. You have to get these 4 nuts off to get the old one out. There's a conversion plate from Casper's that you'll need to convert that 4 to a 3. I'm just gonna drill new holes in it. Don't recommend that, but I'm really anxious. I wanna see this thing start up. So let me get this back on there and let's try to start this bad boy up. All right, so bracket with the ignition module is in, and we just got to get the coil up. So here is the coil. It is numbered, so you can see we do have our designations right up in here and on the bottom side. Now, if you hook this up and it runs like it misfires, then you have to switch the positions of this wire and this wire on the back of this. So keep that in mind. But I'm gonna hook it up the same way that I saw it on the other coil. Okay, so it is officially late. I had to break out my light, but everything is hooked up. And like I said, I may need to pop it back open and switch the terminals if it doesn't run right, but I feel like I have it right. Everything is down and connected. My MAF is hooked back up. I gotta tighten these real quick. All right, first start did not work, my battery died. So I got it charging up now. Let's try it again. So you saw it, it did not take. The same problem that I had before is still happening. It'll run for a couple seconds and then die right off. So I'll keep reading up. We'll try to see what's the next best thing to do to try to get it to run reliably. Once we do that, then we can start to get into body work, paint, all that other good stuff to get it looking as well as it should hopefully run. So thanks for watching. See you next time.